Hey, so we've got this problem and it says determine whether or not the relation represents y as a function of x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this for x and get y completely by itself so we can get it as a function. All right. So this is what our expression says. I'm going to divide by -5 on both sides. All right. And then I'm going to get y as a function of x by doing this. Dividing by -5, I'm going to get y is equal to -2/5 x squared. All right. I'm going to test some points to see what I get. So I have x, f of x, which is my y. I'm going to test -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And see and make sure that I'm only getting one value whenever I plug in these. So f of -2 is -2/5 times -2 squared. And I get -2/5 times 4, which is -8/5. All right. I'm going to plug in f of 1 or -1, and I'm going to get -2/5 times -1 squared is -2/5 times 1. -1 squared is 1. And this is going to be -2/5. Ready? Now I'm going to plug in 0, f of 0, -2/5 times 0 squared, -2/5 times 0. 0 squared is 0, and I get 0. All right, now I'm going to do f of 1, -2/5 times 1 squared is -2/5 times 1, which is -2/5. Right? And then f of 2, -2/5 times 2 squared, -2/5 times 4. 2 squared is 4, and that's -8/5. -8/5. All right, so this is a function because for every value x that I plug in, I get only one element. All right. It kind of looks weird that I'm getting -8/5 and -8/5 here, and -2/5 and -2/5 here, but it determining whether or not it's a function boils down to looking at one value of x and making sure that I only get one value in y. So the graph of this function looks something along the lines of, it's going to look something like a cup. It's going to look like this. And using the vertical line test, what the vertical line test says is that I'm looking at every time that this vertical line intersects my function, and it only intersects my function at one point. And if I move this line to the left or to the right, it's still only going to intersect at one point. So as long as it only intersects at one point, then my function is, my relation here is a function, my relation f here. Ooh, that's kind of squiggly. My relation f is a function as long as it only intersects at one point. If my relation had 2 points whenever I did this vertical line test, then it wouldn't be a function. But for us, it doesn't have that. It only intersects the relation at one point. So it's a function. This is a function.